Mica pads 101. The thing you don't want to forget, and this is the easiest thing to forget, turn the transmitter on before you start taping. Because if you get through with the pads and they're all taped up, you can't get to it, and it's off, kind of just wasted a whole bunch of time, didn't you? John Boy, would you grab me a single thing of bubble wrap, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, check it. So, again, just out of habit, turn the damn thing on. Again, at this point, you would have already gone out to the field, pulled your frequency on your transmitter and your receiver. So you're good, you know you're good. Make sure you can hear it in the camera and such. And lock it so that, because with tape, it might, you might tape it so tight that you need to put a button down. All right, you start on the back of the pads. You take your single sheets of bubble wrap. You put it so that the antenna is being also covered by the bubble wrap, and you roll. Okay, the more you roll, the fatter it's going to get. So usually one sheet is enough. Also, if you can see here on the table, it's a smart thing to do. All these little sheets, all these little ones, you're going to need one gaff tape that is half and half, one gaff tape that is full. Don't do this all the gaff tapes. Brian's going to get pissed off at you. Oh, we're on the gaff tape. Blah, blah, blah. You need one bastardized gaff tape for this purpose only. Take one of your guys. Tape your bubble wrap. Okay? Then this tail underneath folds underneath, giving you one more level of protection to fall out the bottom. Take one of your little guys. Do that. Okay, so that's your setup. All right, go to the back of the pads. Obviously, front of the pads have this string doesn't even exist anymore in football. It's just, that's an old school thing. But wherever those clips are, go to the other side. If you don't know what shoulder pads look like. Wherever these clips are coming out of, or where you're gonna go with the thing. All right, you're gonna go as low on the back as possible, right? So if someone has a back flap, you don't wanna put it on the back flap, but it can go lower in that case because it's like extended down. So in this case, all right, now it's here where your regular gaff tape comes in. You take it, go about 2 inches off both sides of the plastic. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. This goes as low, and actually the trash cans in the locker room, this is gonna be tough. The trash cans in the locker room work as perfect places to make it easy for you to set up. I typically put it on something like that, so the trash can in the locker room, that works well too. Put it as low as you can. Now here's the other thing, you gotta remember that your lowest piece of tape is gonna go and it's gonna connect up as low as it possibly can right above these straps, you know what I'm saying? So if you put it down here, your tape is not gonna be able to go underneath. So you basically draw a line from the highest part of the strap that's going to allow you to put a piece of tape on it. All right, go in the middle. Most important thing, you don't just go out, you go down. Down, so that there is no A-frame, and then this folds underneath. So again, most important, if you leave it like this, right? Once this tape loosens up, it lets this thing get loose and it has the opportunity to fall out the bottom. So you go down with the tape, run it to the outside, and fold it under. The fold under is the important part. This will give strength to your piece of tape. Same thing again. Down and fold. Down and fold. I typically put 3. Oh, that was a bad tear. Oh boy.
Didn't realize this was your first day.
Oh. Scott Wyatt. Everybody.
Ooh, trash one.
He's here till Friday.
Panthers. They know you can't do tape job yet.
Oh my God, look at this guy. Down. So I'll do 2 or 3 of these big guys and get as close to these things as possible, because these things need to be able to go anywhere, up or down. Now, the Josiah Coatney piece of tape, I actually had a mic fall out of Josiah Coatney's pads in the middle of team. I was able to make it to him and disconnect it before it happened, but this is important. All right, so to prevent this from getting wet and loose and falling out, the Josiah Coatney piece of tape goes on the very bottom, right? You go about a half tear there so that you can lay it flat all the way to the corner. And if you have more than 1.5 inches or so, just add that to your little guys. Right, that little tear will allow you to lay flat. Right. So that's the Josiah Coatney piece of tape. And then to strengthen the Josiah Coatney, I go underneath as far as I can and run it up. So now you can see that the bottom of the tape job is completely enclosed. All right, next thing is running your lav. You're going to be tempted to start putting these little pieces of tape on immediately. Don't do that. I'll tell you one in a second. You have a new piece of wig tape on there. The placement of this is going to go as close to that middle section as possible. Right? The little head of the mic will stick out. That's why after you tape a guy's pads up, you go into him, you go to him and tell him, hey, this is the talkie thing. If you want to spray water on yourself or your neck, go on the back of your neck, go on the left side of your neck, but don't just go all over your chest. That typically helps. So the reason that you set that first is because now you know where your lav is supposed to be. Then you run your wire all the way around the back, and that shows you how much slack you have left. Because your lav is where it's supposed to be, this is how much slack you have left. You do yourself a little under over. You take what that doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world. You take one of your little small guys, tape your under over, and then take another small guy and you can just stick it there for now.
Can you show us that real quick?
All right, so all your slack is now in the back, and this is the wire that's going to run up to the front of your lav. Now, I know these are old school shoulder pads. They don't look like this anymore. But one thing that isn't going to change is this thing right here. This piece that connects the actual shoulder pad to the body. It's circular, right? It's round. On the inside of this, it's round just like it is here. That wire, you're gonna run that wire right inside that ridge where it's round. And this is why you tear all your things first, because if you didn't, it's pretty annoying to rip one of these every single time you need one of these. So you just follow it up the canal, leaving no room for error, no room for pulling, no room for stray wires, or anything like that.
What you got here? Showing him how to mic it up.
You're gonna be in the tutorial forever now, McCoy.
Okay, that is good for now.
Do you think people will still be watching this video while you're still employed here? Like, do you think you'll outlast this video, McCoy?
I do not.
Again, so you go all the way to the talkie piece. That will stick out just like that. Now, you take your bastardized tape roll, and you can see these pieces that I just used were 2 inches, right? That's all you need for this. Any longer and you're gonna have to be digging underneath it, and that's no fun. You take this guy, and now you're measuring from here to here, right? These are the most important pieces of tape on the entire tape job, other than the ones that hold the transmitter, because this is your money, right? If this thing goes flying and this thing is loose, you got no wire. So that's obviously bad. You go right next to it, tuck it under, wrench it hard, tight, 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 tight. If you want to go a little bit longer piece, I like a piece that will wrap twice, so that you're wrapping here, and you're wrapping here. Then if you got leftover things, right, so tape sticks to tape better than it sticks to plastic. So if you have little leftover guys, you can go sideways here to give your tape a little bit more of a surface area with which to stick. Right next to the guy, tight as you can reach. And then sometimes the guy even comes out the other side. That's when you know that's a good guy. That guy's gonna stay. All right, so this one kind of depends on how much time you have, right? Because you don't want to mic up the pads too early in front of practice, because you're wasting your battery life because they're just sitting in a locker. So you're always riding on like the edge of the edge of the razor by going, okay, if they're going to walk to practice, they'll have meetings before every practice. If they're going to walk to practice at 3:30, you want to be done at 3:25, right? I don't know how long we've been recording, probably 15 minutes or so. And without the talking, you know, you just go faster if you just go into it. But the number of tape pieces of tape that you put down here on the money kind of depends on how much time you have left. But as long as you have 5 or 6 good ones. So if we look from the inside, that lob has 2 pieces here, 3 pieces here, right? You're wrapping all the way around. You're not impeding your lob at all. It's still got room to move a little bit. And that wire, again, runs right up that ridge. So, after that, it's kind of, we used to not cover this antenna with the bubble wrap, which would mean that we'd have to tape it to the side of the pads. Now, if you do that, let's say you mess up and you don't give yourself enough room to give you a bubble wrap pad on top of your antennas, and you have to tape it to the side, you can't just go to the side and tape it. Because if he falls on his back, it's going to bust the thing out of it. You know what I mean? So you have to give yourself, push it down and make sure that there's play so that when he falls, it's fine. And it's nothing is tight, nothing is taut. But if you give yourself enough room with this bubble wrap, you know, use your extra guys, close it up, and whatever you have left, take your big guy, and you only need one good one. And this is just for that extra wire you got right there. Just put a piece of tape on it. Make sure it ain't going anywhere. Give it a check. Just a coating piece of tape underneath. The wire runs all the way up. You've already checked the inside. That's how you do it. It actually happened with Akeem Judd, and I was in a hurry, and I was trying to get his stuff undone quickly. This is going to take some time, right? It's going to be sweaty. It's going to be gross. Send the GA to do it, right? That's how they earn their stripes. Go and get the sweaty, because didn't you go get, you never have? I always sent you. Yeah. Send the kid to go get it. I mean, teach him the first time, obviously, but no, it's going to, there's a, don't use a shark. Don't use that thing that people use on there, because that wire, you go right through it, right? And you're screwed. But no, these pieces are easy because they just wrap right here. Just undo. Essentially, you would just undo these back pieces together. Right, that releases this, and that's where you have to basically stop until you have your lav released. This guy. All right, your side coating piece is still underneath there. So once this is free, you've only got about half the time, half of it left. And you just kind of go through, and as they're, actually when they get sweaty, they kind of stick together a little bit. So see how 2 came up there? When they're all wet, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 will come up all at the same time. But the part that stinks is the part that we took a lot of time on, up on the front, because it's so important that the lav, since it's so important that the lav doesn't move, and we did these so tight, that's what's going to take time. And you just have to try to remember how you I'm going to take that back to the cart and figure it out from there. But it probably would be a good idea if you tore your bubble wrap, got to the actual connection with your lav, and took that out, because now you're not worried about that connection having a bunch of torque on it when you're trying to get tape off. You know what I mean? So when this is free, now you got your 2 separate pieces. Easier said than done.
Is there a big difference between shells?
Yeah, good question. It was actually tough. So you know what I was talking about up on the front before, where tape will stick better to tape than it will to plastic? Tape will not stick to a shell. So on the back side of shells, I literally have to take the big dude and tape the whole back and tape the inside of that, just to get the tape to be able to stick to tape, because the shells are like shiny, fluffy, mushy plastic. You know what I mean? So if you take tape and go all the way across and one piece here for your tuck, it'll help you stick. And then you have to do the same thing up front where you would tape this and tape underneath, and then your tape will stick to that better. But there are going to be times where you got a big old plan in place and you walk into the locker room and, always ask somebody before you grab someone's pads, always ask, what's the dress? Is it shells? Is it full pads? Is it whatever? Because there's been times where we've mic'd up 2-3 pairs of pads and then they're going shells, right? So we're waiting, we're seeing people coming up the steps, hearing people in the locker room going, okay, we're good. And then they walk up the steps and they're not wearing their shoulder pads, and we got everybody at practice and all the things rolling and all the mics on, and they're not even wearing pads. So I stop, like, if a kid's on in the locker room, go to the equipment room. The equipment room's not open, go find a coach. A coach will know, don't ask Rich Rod. Just go to the next guy. But past that, it's just, this tape is actually the hardest one to do, so you don't even really have to, you just have to basically try to get the damn bubble wrap to give you a spot. Check it out.